thank you for joining us for the Teen Craft at the Punta Gorda Charlotte Library. I am Melanie, and today we are going to be making glow-in-the-dark constellation mason jars. So I'm going to show you all of the things. So included in your kit, you have a little bit of pigment powder. This is glow-in-the-dark pigment powder, so if you look at it, you can see it glowing. If I hold it like that, you can maybe see it glowing a little bit like that. So all of these glow in the dark. To activate them, you can set the little baggie of pigment powder that we give you out in the sun for about 15 minutes. If you can't put it in direct sunlight, strong light like a phone flashlight or a regular flashlight would work perfectly fine to activate the pigment powders. So you will also get constellation star sheets. We're giving these as a guide to help you create your constellations. You don't have to use any of these. You can look up your own, but this is about the perfect size for the jars we're giving you. We're also giving you these little mason jars. They're the perfect size for a tea light candle. They have two different lids that comes with them. There's a cork stopper you can put in it so it looks a little more decorative, or there's the original plastic stopper. So we're giving you all of this for your craft. To make the pigment powder, I like to use both school glue and acrylic paint. So you can see the difference on this one that we made in advance. The glue dries clear, whereas the white paint dries white, obviously, but they both glow in the sun. So it all really depends on how much pigment you put in with a ratio to your medium. So I'm going to show you how to mix with your different mediums. The one thing that I noticed when I was experimenting was that the ratio is almost 50-50. So it'd be a 1-to-1 ratio for what you're mixing. So since we're not giving you that much powder, a little bit goes a long way. So I will start to mix it. I labeled my paint palette so I could keep everything clear or straight, because when you mix the powders in, you can't usually see them. You can only see them in the dark because they're glow in the dark, except for the yellow-green one glows super bright all the time. So I labeled mine. If you don't have a paint palette, you can use a paper plate, a piece of paper. It doesn't really matter what you use. So I'm going to start mixing it. I'm going to start with the aqua, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in that one and a little bit of paint in the one next to it. So I am only, like I said, I'm only putting a tiny bit of glue and paint. You don't really need that much here, because we don't have that much powder to mix with it. So I am taking a popsicle stick because I found that was a really easy way to get the powder out. So with what we give you, you can put the entire amount in your mixture. So I'm taking a little bit less than the same amount of paint and glue I put in there, and I'm putting them directly on top of my mediums. So then you're just going to mix it. And it will still be grainy. That doesn't affect it. You don't have to mix it until it's smooth. But you do want to make sure you mix all of it so you don't accidentally pick up a piece of paint on your brush that isn't mixed with the medium. So see, you can see that this one's the glue is glowing a little bit better than the white paint is, but when you paint it and it dries, they both look colored. So I'm going to go ahead and mix all my colors just so I have a bunch of stuff to play with. They're not going to dry that fast. The glue is obviously going to dry faster than the paint because that's just how glue works. So for my green powder, I'm just going to use glue because I only want my white to be an accent for my planet that I'm going to make earlier. I'll show you how later. I'm going to show you how to make a planet and a shooting star and how to trace some constellations. So I put about the same amount of each medium in each one. Because since my jar is small, I'm not really going to use that much of anything, and I don't want to waste any of my resources. So as you can see, since I've mixed them all, it's really hard to tell which color is which is why I recommend writing the medium and the color down on your palette or your piece of paper, just so you don't get it mixed up. Okay, so now that I have my whole palette mixed together, I am going to choose my constellations. So over here I have all my constellations. I am going to do the Big Dipper and probably Orion, because those are my two favorites and they're very easily to recognize in the sky. So I'm going to take my piece of paper, I cut them out into strips so they would fit in my jar, and I'm going to just put it right inside the jar against the edge. So it'll look like that, so you'll be able to see what you're doing through your jar. So then you're going to pick your color and start painting. So I'm going to do my stars the yellow-green color because that glows the brightest. So I'm just going to put dots where the stars are. If you want to, you can draw stars. I am not that good, where I can't really draw tiny little stars like that, but if you are super artistic, go for it. This is for you to have fun. There's no wrong or right way to have fun. So since I'm using glue for this, it will dry clear. So I am trying to put pretty big dots where the stars are, just so I can make sure that it will be visible later. So I am not going to draw the connecting lines on mine. If you want to, or have a really fine tip paintbrush, go for it. I only have like a medium fine. So I finished painting my constellation on here. Like I said, I'm not going to draw the connecting lines because I don't have a fine tip paintbrush. So when you're finished with your constellation, you just take this piece of paper out, and since I chose the Big Dipper, I can tell what it is. So I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to do Orion on the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put it in, and I'm going to use the same green color for this one as well. But you have 4 colors to choose from. We're giving you yellow, green, aqua, light blue, and purple pigment powder. So I just painted Orion as well. I'm going to pull this out. If you do constellations that aren't very easily recognizable, you can use a fine tip Sharpie to write the titles of what you're doing. We also included all of the zodiac constellation signs, so if you want to customize yours, go ahead. So now I'm going to draw Saturn, because I want to draw a planet. So I'm gonna use the glue pigment that I made for aqua color, and I'm just going to draw a planet. So I'm going to start by drawing my circle. So one thing I've noticed with this is it doesn't need to be very thick for you to see it glow. If you want it to glow more, you can obviously put more layers on it to make it stand out some. But it is all personal preference. So I have my aqua planet there, and I'm cleaning my brush after I use each color just because I don't want it to mess up the pigment, because I want the colors to shine individually pretty well. So I think I'm going to use this right here, this purple white that I made, and I'm just gonna draw my rings around my planet. So I'm just gonna go straight through that. And this way, when it glows, it should glow different colors for the different paint that I've used. That's what happened with our other one that we did. So that's my little planet that I made with the rings around it. So now I'm gonna draw a shooting star over here. So for this one, I'm going to use the light blue to make my star. I'm going to just start in the middle, give it some points. So your stars might be better than mine, but that's okay. So now I'm going to take my white aqua paint that I haven't used yet, and I'm going to make the streamer for my shooting star. So I drew my star there, so to make the streamer, I'm just going to make a line. And there you go, you have your shooting star. I'm going to put a couple other smaller planets around mine. I'm going to use the purple glue to make a little planet over here. And since this is space themed, if you want, you can draw a rocket ship, you can draw just regular stars all over it. Another cool thing you can do is you can use some puffy paint if you want, if you have any glow-in-the-dark puffy paint, and you can make some like multiple dimensions with it. It's all really fun. So anything you want to do, you can do. And I'm going to go ahead and write the constellations that I chose on my glass so I know what they are later when I look at them. So this one was the Big Dipper. And then over here, I have Orion. So there you go, I have my finished glass. I have Orion, a shooting star, a smaller planet, the Big Dipper, Saturn, and another planet. So just have a lot of fun. You can also paint the bottom if you want to. We painted the bottom on this one so it glows really bright when you turn off the lights. And you can fill it with a tea light or anything you want. Thank you guys for joining us. I hope you had fun. Alright guys, thank you for watching the Teen Craft. I thought that I would take the time at the end while I have your attention to plug some space-themed YA books that I really enjoyed and that I think you guys will too. So this one is a series by Brandon Sanderson. It is still ongoing. The second one came out recently and I think it's going to be a trilogy. This is about, set in the future, there aren't very many people left, and it's about this girl who wants to be a pilot to go into space and to prove her worth. Since her father was a pilot and he didn't make it, she wants to show that she can. So that's what this one's about. This is one of the Florida Teen Reads books this year. It's called Aurora Rising. It's about a group of graduates who recently graduated from this academy in the year 2380. So it's about them, after they've graduated, they have to go and they get their assignments. So this follows them. This one, called Tumble and Fall, sets place in modern day Earth where an asteroid is about to hit. So it's inevitable. They know the asteroid is going to hit, and it's about what to do with the time you have left. So this one's really interesting. This one is called These Broken Stars. It is set on a huge luxury space liner. Everyone now lives on a spaceship, and it comes crashing down. So they land on this planet that they're not familiar with. They've lived in space all these years, and they have to figure out how to survive in their new situation. There are a couple other books that I thought you guys would like that were checked out right now, so I couldn't show you. There's one called Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, and it is about a young boy who joins the Space Academy, and he's like amazing at this like general game that he plays, and so it's about him rising in the ranks within that academy. There's another book by Beth Reeves called Across the Universe, and similar to These Broken Stars, it takes place on a space liner where everyone that was on Earth now lives in this generation ship, and they lived in this ship for so long that a lot of them don't remember that they didn't always live there. There are several people who don't remember that Earth was a thing and that they didn't just always live in the stars. So this boy finds out that life has not always been the way it is now, and he has to cope with it. So I hope you guys find some fun space-themed books to read after our spacecraft and our space week for your younger siblings. So thank you guys for joining us, and have a great day.